around here. There's a bunch of crooks around here.
You ain't supposed to be in that jail, boy. Get out of there, man.
No, that's a total no, man. I'd come in.
Is my salary going up?
The Bahamian people got to wake up.
This is my 5 cents and I approve this message.
Two dead and 2 more injured in a drive-by shooting at Plantol Street. Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner blasts the Prime Minister for living in a make-believe land. Amid outcry, one Junkanoo Carnival group is offering conservative carnival costumes. And Island Luck donates 20 computers to a local primary school. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NV12 starts right now. Tonight, 2 men are dead and 2 others fighting for their lives after gunmen opened fire in the Plantol Street area last night. With no leads thus far, police have launched a manhunt for the men they believe are behind the murders. Kyle Joaquin was on the scene and filed this report.
Two bodies lie side by side in front of a corner store last night through Plantol Street. The men, victims of another shooting. Police say the shocking attack took place around 8:15, and while the specific target remains unclear, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll described to reporters on the scene how witnesses described the attack.
Our preliminary information at this stage is that a male was standing in the street around that time when we believe persons in a silver type vehicle or a van or Jeep type vehicle came and began discharging shots in his direction.
Now, although shots were being fired at that one man, Roll says a group of men standing in front of the store was apparently caught up in the attack as the gunmen unleashed a hail of bullets from their car. In the aftermath of that drive-by shooting, 4 in total were shot. 2 died on the scene and the others were rushed to the hospital where one is said to be in stable condition. We're told one of the deceased was shot to the head while the other was shot to the chest. Although police don't have a motive as yet, Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean believes this may be the result of the challenge they're having with men in and out of the prison system.
This is not something that we take very lightly. We have all the stocks out tonight, full police teams out tonight, because this is a serious matter tonight where we have 4 persons shot. And we are appealing to members of the public who might have been passing this area, who might have seen anything, the slightest information you might have, someone know who's responsible, who might have known of a feud in this area. We will continue to pursue these persons. We continue to have the challenge with persons who are in and out of the prison system. And there's some indications this might be a connotation to that.
The victims of last night's shooting have been identified as 18-year-old Henry Dudley Johnson of West End Avenue and 31-year-old Renardo Johnson of Plantol Street. Our news team visited Renardo Johnson's relatives in the aftermath who are still in disbelief. His sister, Deandra Davis, says all she remembers is her father giving her the call that her brother had been killed.
It still hasn't sat in yet because I just saw him on Saturday. Not Saturday, on Sunday. I just saw him on Sunday. And he was right through the corner just chilling like he always do. And a couple of days he was blowing my phone up, texting, saying, I need to see you and stuff like that. And then to see him on Sunday and then to find out he died, it still hasn't sat in yet. I don't know, the way this country going, it's terrible. And it's like all the time you hear about murder, 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 murder. But you don't really, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I don't know what to say. It's like someone is here today and gone tomorrow because somebody just they wanna kill, they make themselves God. They decide that the life and death is in their hands.
Johnson, the 5th of 7 children and the father of a 6-year-old daughter, was a painter. He was described by his sister as a fun person who everyone loved to be around.
Nado, my brother, he was a fun person. I mean, it never was no problem from Nado. Nado would never diss anybody. Nado was just into chilling. They used to call him Secu. That was his nickname, Secu. So Secu just was into chilling, man.
That crime pushes the murder count for the year to 20. Again, police are appealing to members of the public, to anyone that may have seen or heard anything in this incident, to contact them at 919 or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 328-TIPS. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Police are investigating an armed robbery that took place around 9:30 this morning. Head of the Central Detective Unit, Chief Superintendent Paul Roll, says the incident took place outside a business establishment on Carmichael Road. NB12 has obtained security footage of the robbery. In it, you see a blue four-door Honda Accord passing the store, and a few seconds later, it returns as a two-door dark-colored later model Honda Accord tries to reverse from the parking lot. That's when two men jump out of the car and approach the women inside, who then scramble out of the car with their shopping bags in hand. A white Jeep then enters the parking lot, and its driver appears to try to stop the car thieves, but they quickly drive off. Roll says police are actively investigating the matter. In other news, Prime Minister Perry Christie seems to be living in the land of make-believe, according to Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner, who last night took Christie to task for painting a cheery picture of the Bahamas during his mid-year budget debate, when in reality, Butler Turner says many are still suffering. She said the Prime Minister is clearly abysmally out of touch with the real state of affairs in this country.
Maybe things look cherry and rosy to the Prime Minister when he's up in the air, you know, with his entourage, flying over God's creation. I must say the Bahamas is beautiful from up there, whining and dining, while Bahamians are having a tough time down here on earth, making ends meet. The Prime Minister needs to come down out of the clouds, go to his office, sit at his desk, and deal with the multitude of problems facing the government and our country today.
Among the items Butler Turner criticized Christie for in the House of Assembly last night was value-added tax. She said although the Prime Minister declared it a success in his mid-year budget contribution, the tax has hit many hard.
With VAT just introduced and not yet fully implemented, believe it or not, the Prime Minister has already declared it a success. While VAT is hitting households, consumers, businesses hard, he sees it as a great victory for this government. You know, clearly he does not shop in the same stores as most of us Bahamians. Shelves are noticeably less well-stocked. Yes, people are still buying food, but what choice do we have?
And VAT wasn't the only thing Butler Turner took issue with. Taking note of the Prime Minister's comment that brighter days lie ahead, the Long Island MP explained the sun is not shining for those who've relied on the Christie administration's many election campaign promises.
For the many who never got the mortgage relief promised by this PLP, that sun is still hidden behind some very dark clouds. For the many who have no health insurance but were promised such help and hope, that sunlight has not yet broken through the clouds. For those who were told that Urban Renewal 2.0 would help to break the back of crime, that sunlight is still hidden by some dark clouds. And the hearts of thousands are not brimming with faith in this government, and they're not optimistic about the future.
Butler Turner said unemployment is up, taxes have skyrocketed, food and basic necessities are more expensive than ever, and the country is still afflicted by the plague of violent crime. She said Family Island residents are hurting badly despite the Prime Minister's talks that wonderful things are happening. She also highlighted several outstanding matters that Christie promised to address, including the Renward Wells letter of intent controversy, the tendering process for the new National Security Ministry building, and the BEC restructuring deal. She dubbed the Christie administration a government that operates in shadows and utterly disregards transparency and accountability. The Long Island MP said now is not the time to celebrate, but to weep.
This is not a government to be applauded. Instead, this is a time to weep for our nation. Our nation has lost its way, and to bemoan a government whose indifference, whose incompetence are further harming our common good, and our shared future.
The Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival has been plagued by controversy, from who would be the headline performer to the resignation and return of Festival Commission members. But nothing has grabbed more long-standing attention than carnival costumes that have been criticized for being too sexy or not Bahamian enough. In this next report, our Jasmine Brown interviews executive members of Charisma, one of a few carnival groups that specializes in conservative costumes. Here's her report.
Organizers of the group say while much has been said about the more revealing carnival costumes, they insist they took a much different route, making more conservative costumes.
Costumes like this, and even this would have helped to form the Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival's image. But while many carnival groups have chosen to create skimpier outfits, there are those who are going the covered-up route. Charisma executive member Chandra Nuri says the reality is that not everyone can or wants to bear it all.
We thought about that we are a Christian nation, and we thought about, the way that most Bahamians shape. Most Bahamians don't have that 11, size figure. They're not a size 0 or size 2. So we came about with a more conservative costume that doesn't have as much skin showing.
Now, while many of Charisma's costumes are indeed conservative, there are those that do bear skin. Revealing costumes have drawn criticisms from the Christian Council, who last month denounced the, quote, immodest costumes, saying the scant attire could lead to fornication, promiscuity, rape, incest, and other sins of the flesh. A day after the council released that statement, Tourism Minister Obi Wilchcombe said the Bahamas Junkanoo Carnival Commission will take the Christian Council's recent concerns regarding the upcoming festival into consideration, but stressed that the celebration will encourage Bahamianism and not sins of the flesh. CEO of Charisma Carnival Group and director of the Valley Boys, Patrick Adderley, says the guidelines for creating those costumes were clear.
There are persons that came in at different points in this race, okay? There are some of us that were there at the beginning, and at the beginning they stressed to us that they wanted a Bahamian component in all of the costumes, and so we ourselves adopted the Junkanoo part of it because they stressed that as well, that Junkanoo was going to play a major role in the carnival. And so we knew that it was the Junkanoo component and it was the Bahamian component that the commission stressed. I don't see those components represented in some of them, but there again, I mean, it's to the creator, if you will, and what he conceptualized as what he wanted to portray as Bahamian carnival.
But in the end, they say it's all about personal taste and preference.
It depends on the person. I had a young lady that called me that wanted to join, but when she saw our costumes, she asked me if I thought she was a mama, that it had too much in. She wanted to be a bit more revealing, so she went to another group.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Meantime, Minister Wilchcombe says, despite the noise in the market, Junkanoo Carnival is and will always be about promoting Bahamian music and culture, not sex. Wilchcombe says the argument about morality should not just be based on carnival costumes.
I'm deeply concerned at times when I see page 3 of the Punch. Are we concerned about that? And if we're going to talk about that, then we ought to also speak about that page. And if we're going to criticize what they're going to wear in Junkanoo or Carnival, then certainly we ought to be taking a moral position and standing up very strongly against things like we see every Monday and every Thursday.
But Wilchcombe says he does understand the concerns expressed.
Well, I'll be concerned with any costume that I believe goes beyond where common decency allows. I think we must always respect the values and the moral compass of our country, to appreciate the fact that we want our women to be presented well and our men to be presented well. We don't want to see anything that suggests that we are going to compromise what we stand for, we believe in, the fact that we do have values and we do have principles. So yes, I understand the concerns that are being raised, but
Junkanoo Carnival will be a series of cultural events starting May 7th and ending on May 9th. Officials have said it will cost $9 million to stage the event. You're watching the best in Bahamian news. There's more when NB12 returns.